Today we're in for a treat. We have the pleasure of chatting with Dino Mazzone, a proud resident of Mowest. Dino isn't just your regular guy. He's a corporate and commercial lawyer. He's a devoted family man and a proud father of three remarkable boys, Julian, James, and David. Dino has been actively involved in our community for a long time and was even a member of the municipal council. In addition, Dino shares his expertise with the public as a regular contributor to a weekly radio show called The Law of the Land, airing every Sunday on CJAD. Dino, with his sharp intellect, dedication to family, and community engagement, truly stands out as an individual whose impact reverberates in Mowest. Oh yeah, he's a crazy Alouettes fan. Stick around as we dive into the fascinating world of Dino Mazzone. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mowest podcast. Today we have a bona fide Montreal West superstar, Dino Mazzone. Hi, Dino.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Superstar, I don't know, but I think my wife sometimes calls me a superstar. I'm not so convinced.
I got to admit to you, Dino, when I do that 30-second little clip about, what you do and what have you done, I didn't have enough time. I could have easily added about 20 minutes to that thing. So I bundled up everything, but you've done so much. It's unbelievable.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate it. I saw that and I loved it. It was great. I was like, this is like my life. This is fantastic. Yeah, it was very well done.
Very nice. I have a feeling you're not from here. You didn't grow up over here. I have a feeling you grew up in the East End.
I grew up in the East End, but I grew up in Montreal North, actually.
Okay. And how did you end up here? How did you end up in Montreal West?
I really credit my mom for that. My mom grew up in NDG.
Okay.
I think she was on Patricia Street, if I'm not mistaken, in NDG. And then by pure happenstance, I guess, through marriage with my dad, moved to the East End. That's where we had our family home. I grew up in Montreal North until I started law school and made my way, eventually worked my way to Montreal West once I got married to my wife, Barbara.
And you went to McGill, I guess?
Yeah, went to McGill Law and went to Marianopolis prior to that. Went to McGill Law. I did my 4 years there, got my national program, and boom, off to the races inside the workforce here in Montreal. And literally within 4 blocks of this downtown core, I've done my whole career. I've been pretty much here all my life. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah, my kids are we're in Marianopolis. What a great college. I mean, it really sets you up to succeed. And I see it.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, no, it was great at the time. The nuns ran it when I was there.
Okay,
and I'll tell you. I think that made a huge difference. And in fact, I think, and again, it's not to necessarily, be critical of the school today, because I wouldn't be able to speak too much about how it's working. But I would definitely say when I was a student there, the nuns were still in charge, and there was a sense about decorum, about what was expected of you, about responsibility, about social responsibility. And so, it was an amazing time.
And speaking of achievements, I hear your son got into a great school in the U.S.
Yeah, I'm so proud of him.
That's great.
Yeah, my son James. So it's crazy, right? And it kind of ties a little bit into Montreal West in some ways. When we moved to Montreal West, we adopted our son Julian, who's like the pride and joy of our home. We just love Julian. He's amazing. And then we had the twins, but we had the twins while I was in my first mandate as a city councilor in Montreal West. And it forced me essentially to step back after a few years of being a city councilor and to give more time at home because it was a lot of work for my wife. She herself was a full-time partner and a lawyer in the downtown core. And suddenly you have 3 kids overnight, right? So
amazing.
Yeah, so it's always been a very busy household, and the boys, I mean, I'm blessed, 3 boys, they're all incredible. They all have very different personalities. They get along extremely well. We have such a blessed, happy home, and they just fulfill me in every regard. I just love my boys to death. And one of my twins, James, when he was a little boy, he was asked in kindergarten, when you take your pictures for like school, and they gave a chalkboard to each of the kids. And he was asked, like, the chalkboard says, when I grow up, I want to be, maybe I'm not exactly quoting it, but he said, I want to be a soccer player.
Okay.
So he's been obsessed with soccer ever since, and he plays extremely well, plays competitively. He's played pretty much throughout all of his youth, and wanted to do this in a more serious way. So he looked to the U.S. particularly to get into a school which had an NCAA program. And lo and behold, with his amazing grades that he got at LCC, I mean, he's one of the top students there. I'm so proud of him.
Beautiful.
He was able to combine these really great grades with this really strong acumen for playing the sport of soccer. He's a midfielder, and he got 21 schools in the U.S. who tried to recruit him to become a soccer player there. In the end, he balanced out the program with the where he would play, and he chose to go to Alfred University. It's in Western New York, New York State. Fantastic campus, founded back in 1836, a private college. And he got an amazing scholarship. It's probably very gauche to even mention the amount, so I won't. But I will simply say that makes it a lot easier for certainly me and my wife. But he is just incredible. He's going to become part of the freshman cohort at the age of 17. He's going to live on campus, and he'll turn 18 within weeks thereafter. So we're really, and by the way, he's going to study business administration. So I'm so proud of my son. Yeah.
And it's good that it's not far, so it's not too stressful. You could drive there, anytime, which is kind of nice,
Yeah, it's nice. It's a 7-hour drive, and my son said, Dad, it's not too far from Buffalo. Maybe we can watch some Buffalo Bill games against the Dolphins, my favorite team. I said,
we'll get back to your football obsession. We'll get back to that.
So I said, yeah, no problem. Sure, whatever you want. But yeah, it's not far at all. But what's great about it, Bill, is that he's going to experience something that I never really had. He's going to be away. He's going to live in the United States, a very different culture, as we all know, different in many respects. He's going to be taking care of his, washing his clothes, ironing his clothes, getting his food and all. So, it's going to be an amazing 4 years. And I know he's going to pull it off. He's going to play amazing soccer. He's going to be great. His teammates have already reached out to him, and they're already starting to say, we can't wait to see you. His coach is incredible. So yes, we're pumped. I'm living vicariously through him right now, because I just remember that time. It's such an exciting time in someone's life to go to university, and your world is your oyster, right? So.
Yeah. I had a little bit of experience like that. I mean, I went like you to McGill, but my wife, she did her master's in Syracuse. Not too far.
Not far at all. Yeah.
Not too far. And I used to drive there, 4 hours every weekend, whatever. But I enjoyed the campus life. It was a blast. Honestly.
Absolutely.
So I envy him. I think he's gonna have a great.
Yeah, I do too. I know, part of me is melancholy. I'm realizing that months from now he's gonna be gone. He's gonna be away from the home, and we're all gonna miss him tremendously. But one of the things I said I would never do if I became a dad is I wouldn't want to try to hold back my kids. Obviously I'm of Italian background. My parents came here. They were immigrants. They were young. They were literally 4 or 5 years old, and to Canada, and they wanted everybody near them. The idea that we would somehow go away and study, that was just not really in the cards. Not that they discouraged it, but it wasn't something they encouraged, if you will. But I'm sure you lived that experience. But with my boys, I made a decision early on that I would always encourage their love, their passion, and wherever that passion takes them, God bless.
Well, you're going to get a business administration. You have 2 lawyers. Now you need a judge and a notary, and you've got your own firm.
Pretty much. No, it's funny. I think, Julian, for example. So Julian is incredible. Julian is working full time. He works. He is a autobus driver for Transdev. He does an amazing job. He has a crazy route. He's a junior. He's like 22 years old. He loves it. He's been passionate about buses since he was a little boy. And David wants to become a teacher, or at least that's what he's indicated. So it's a mixed bag, and they're all doing what they want to do, which is really, for me, what was key. I didn't want to put my thumb on the scale. I really wanted to encourage whatever was their passion. So.
Yeah, that's really important. You gotta let them go at one point and let them pursue. I know it's hard for me. I'm in the midst. I got my girls the same way. One of them wants to go to law school. The other one wants to become a scientist. I said, look, just do what you want to do. I'm not gonna get in the way. Whatever you guys want. It's at the end you have to be happy with what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, look, I'm here now. It's late. I'm in my office, but I love what I do. I love worrying about my work. I love worrying about my clients because it gives me a sense of purpose. I know what I do here is important to them. So you got to love what you do. Otherwise, don't waste your time.
Beautiful.
Don't.
Beautiful. Speaking about loving what you do, I love hearing your show Sunday mornings. How did you get hooked up
Oh
with
man.
CJAD? That's a great show.
It's a great well, thank you. It's a great experience, and the Sunday morning program is just. I mean, myself as a contributor together with everybody, we're just. It's a juggernaut. I mean, the ratings are great. This is my 25th year, believe it or
Wow,
not.
wow,
Now
wow.
it's funny. I'm going to tell you something. It all goes back to. You remember the time when it was the 50th year anniversary? I guess 1999. Certainly, it was around that time. It was June of '99. It was, I think, the 5th anniversary of O.J. Simpson's acquittal.
Okay.
And long story short, I wanted to get into radio so badly. So I would go to CJD and I'd go see, the program director at the time. And I said, look, I want to get involved. I want to be doing something. He said, well, what do you do? I said, I'm a lawyer. I'm a young lawyer. He said, well, we don't have anything for a young lawyer over here. I said, well, I'll do anything. I don't care, just anything. And he said, well, and he kept on putting me off. So I think I went to see him the third time. He said, look, I don't have any job for you. He said, the only job I would have is a non-paying job. You answer the phones as the callers are calling in and you type their names on a screen that gets shown to the guy behind the glass, right? I said, I'll take it. So he says, you're serious? I said, yes, I'm very serious. I want to do this. He says, how long have you been practicing law? I said, it's about 5-6 years. He says, and this is what you want to do? I said, absolutely. So I went. I had to dress down because I was always wearing suits, right? You can't do that in radio. Nobody wears suits. So I wore my hoodie, my baseball cap, my jeans or sweatpants, name it, right? And I would go there and people thought I was a student. And so one night, I was behind the glass and there was, I don't know if you remember the name Ricky Sear. His real name is Ricky Serur. He's a fantastic guy, by the way, a friend of mine. And Ricky Sear was behind the glass doing a show and he was talking about the O.J. Simpson trial over 5 years after the fact. And he was going through the show and there were certain facts that he was mentioning or that he couldn't remember a name here or there. And I was typing the information away like a crazy person on the other side. And he kept on looking across the glass saying, who are you? Are you sure? Like he was giving me that look. Long and short, the whole thing's over. He says, hey, by the way, he comes over, he goes, who are you? And I tell him my whole story. I said, but listen, Ricky, don't mention this to anybody really around the station because they all think I'm a student here and I don't want, I just want to be in radio. Well, God bless Ricky. He couldn't keep his mouth shut. And word got out to Dave Fisher, the late Dave Fisher.
I love Dave Fisher. I love Dave Fisher.
Dave Fisher. I love Dave
Fisher.
Him,
yeah.
And Dave called me. And I'll never forget, I was in Prince Edward Island with my wife. It was, I think, late August. And he picks up the phone. I get a message from my assistant or my secretary back in Montreal. And she said, somebody called Dave Fisher, called you. Here's his number. I'm like, Dave,
what?
What's going on? I got to call this guy. So I call him up, and I kid you not. I'm literally from my hotel room. I call him up. I'm all nervous. And I go, yes, I'm calling for Dave Fisher. And he says, Dino, Dave Fisher, how are you? And he goes on and on. And he tells me how he found out I'm a lawyer. He wants me to do a little bit of a demo for him because he wants to have a legal segment on his Sunday morning show. And he says, would you want to do it? I said, sure. He goes, now, look, I can't commit to more than a few weeks. I don't know where this is going to go. He said, but we'll try it out and see where it goes. And that was it. Of course, when I first tried that, I was nervous as heck. And I was reading off of text and all. And Dave was the best teacher ever. And he used to tell me that on radio, he says, people can hear you smile. People can hear you gesticulate with your hands. He says, so do it. He says, because the listener is very smart. They know when you're kind of calling it in and they know when you're really being authentic. Really? And he was the best teacher. He really, really was. And so he could not have been more gracious with his time. He was such a giving man. We had such a great relationship. And then he passed the baton, of course, to Ken Connors, who he touched me. When Ken came on board, Ken chose to keep only 2 segments out of the whole weekend segment, myself and Bill Brownstein. And so that touched me a lot. And now now Ken's on his way out.
Yeah, he's retiring too. So
And I'm like, am I the last guy to turn the lights off?
because it's a ritual. Every Sunday I'd play golf. I usually play golf on the weekends, and I'd get up, have breakfast, listen to you, and then take off. It's time to
That's
go
so
to my tea
sweet.
times.
Yeah, no, that's so sweet. I got to tell you, Bill, if somebody would have told me 25 years ago I'd be still doing this, I'd be like, no way. But it's great. It's like my Sunday morning routine. I have a routine. I get my topics picked in advance on the Saturday, send them off and research them. Every topic is researched. Nothing is done on the fly,
Yeah.
But then you get on and it's boom, 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 so.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So Dino, let's move on and tell me, you're a crazy football fan like I am.
Big time.
I mean, I just, my wife doesn't see me when the NFL season starts. I mean, never. She knows that I have breakfast. I talk to them. I have to cordially talk to my family, and then say, okay, it's 1:00. Time to go upstairs in the attic where my TV room is, and I watch the first game. Then I come down, get a sandwich, watch the second game,
go back up.
Dinner. She gets mad at me because I have to go for dinner, but I eat as fast as I can so I could catch the 8:30 game. So that's my ritual every Sunday. So
you know what? God bless you that you get away with that. I get away with some of it. My wife will be like, "Look, you gotta at least give us a few hours on the Sunday." So yeah, especially Sundays and then Mondays and then So, but the beauty of the whole is when the CFL overlaps with the NFL. When the CFL and the NFL overlap, I'm pretty much just in front of my TV set or at the games here in Montreal for the Alouettes. So I'm everybody in the office knows I'm absolutely obsessed with football. I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan. I'm a huge Montreal Alouettes fan. This Grey Cup this past year, oh my God, Bill, I lost.
It was amazing. What a great finish. It was fun to watch. It was a great finish.
It was so emotional for me because I knew a lot of the guys playing, and I know how hard they played all season, and how everyone in the league did not believe that these guys were for real. And I want to be clear about something, like I have a job, I come in and I get paid well, and I don't have to worry about, am I going to have a job tomorrow? And these guys, they don't make a lot of money. They do this truly because of the love of the game. And by the way, they get pummeled, they get beaten, they get bruised, they get criticized. They get fans like myself telling them that they should have caught the ball or do this or that. And so, but they do it because they love it. And to see these guys pick up that Grey Cup in Hamilton this year, I have pictures right opposite on the wall here. My wife took photos of me as Cody Fajaro threw the game-winning touchdown to Tyson Philpott, excuse me. And literally in that moment, with 13 seconds left, she just snapped away. She said to me, because she was nervous, she says, "I'm just going to look at you for this last play, and I'm just going to see your reaction to know whether or not we did well or not." And she kept on snapping away. And these pictures say it all. I mean, it's just awe and wonderment at the magic of that moment. It was such an incredible game.
What a great comeback! What a great game! It was fun to watch. I got it.
The thing now is that there's this expectation that we're going to do it again, right? So, and I think they got the core team. I mean, Danny Machachas, they put together an amazing team. We got a good coach in Jason Moss, and so I'm excited. I can't wait. I just can't wait.
So in the summertime must be dull for you until the football season starts.
Well,
right?
you know what? Again, so here's the thing. I'm going to start watching football come March the 30th. You got the UFL, which is the spring football.
Yeah.
Takes me into the CFL that starts in June. That takes me through. By the time we get to September, I'm primed. I've been watching football for months, And by the way, I don't just do it here. I go. Last year I traveled to Edmonton, to Ottawa. We went off, my cousin and I, to I'm blanking out. We went out to some American. We went to Detroit, to Canton. We went to see a lot of football games last year. Yeah, Miami, you name it. So if I can get on the plane, I'm going, and that's kind of my little secret pleasure, if you will.
When I used to visit my wife in Syracuse, we'd go to the Syracuse games.
Yes,
it was awesome. It was that was like, the whole town shuts down. Everybody is barbecuing. Everybody is, it's like one big party. It was just, it's just a blast.
Well, college football is like a whole other. That's a whole other dimension, they take, this is as close to an organized religion as you can get. I was in Ohio State this past summer or fall, excuse me, where they took on Michigan State. It was like I don't know, 100 and something thousand people over there. This was like ludicrous. I couldn't believe it. And the marching band and it's you can't make this stuff up. You got to live this experience. It's exact. People would say to me, like people that I brought over to go see the game, they said, "Well, don't hype it too much because it's gonna let me. I'm gonna have such an expectation. I'm gonna be let down." I said, "Trust me, nothing I can tell you is gonna even come close to the expectation you have." So.
You're right. You're right. I actually went one time to Chicago to see a Bears game, and I
Oh
did the
wow.
the whole thing. It was awesome. It was such a what a great experience. We did the barbecue outside the tailgate and the whole thing, and it's nice. I wish we had a team here. I wish we had.
Well, I mean, listen, I got to tell you, and I'm an unofficial, not non-paid ambassador for the Montreal Alouettes.
Well, the Alouettes are great. I wish we had a giant stadium and had an NFL team too. It would
Yeah,
have added to the city. We had the Montreal Expos, which was, we were on the map. I mean, it
we
was
were.
crazy. We lost the Expos. We were
Yeah,
on the map. And now it's like we want to be worldwide. The Montreal Alouettes, everyone's going to love them from Montreal.
sure,
Some
sure.
people are, but we're not on the map,
No,
and we need
well, I
something
mean,
on the map.
you're right. I mean, there's no team here short of the Montreal Canadiens that is international in scope, if you will, right? So you're 100% right. And the Expos, no question about it. When we had that team, there was luster to the city in many ways, and I mean that don't even get me going with the Expos. I mean, they broke my heart. I was a huge fan of the team, the Gary Carter, all those guys.
Yeah,
I
me
loved them
too.
all. I mean, it was so sad to see that team come and not just leave, but the way they left. They petered out,
Yeah,
So
it's just bad people running it. That
yeah,
was the
yeah,
problem.
no, for sure, for
That's
sure. There
all. The
was
team was good. So Dino, let's go back. Tell me before we take off,
yeah,
what
sure.
what would you like to see in Montreal West? You lived here a long time. Just give me something. Some people said restaurant. Some people said dentist, because God knows we need a dentist. Uh, some people said supermarket. What do you think we're missing here?
I'd like to see a good fish shop.
Ah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's
And I'll tell you
or a
why.
butcher actually. To be
Or
honest,
butcher. I would definitely be cool with a butcher, like a real legitimate, like high-end butcher that really has some choice meats, or like a fish shop. I'm thinking a little bit of like what was it called, Waldman's, I think, on St. Lawrence, or
yeah, Waldman's. Yeah,
I mean, just something different. Like, I mean, we have two of everything, two insurance, two this, two that. That's the rule, by the way, Montreal West. If you see a business, you copy it, and you have two of everything. Um, look, we have a very small commercial strip. We have certain regulations where you can't necessarily do whatever you want to do, right? So even, for example, when we have I'm blanking out now, the state the hamburger place.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm
Now
blanking
you're
out.
making me blank out.
They're gonna kill me. I'm so sorry, guys. I eat there all the time too.
Yeah, oh,
But
boy.
like, I mean, there were certain. They went through a process too, right? They had to have a certain type of shaft to emit, if you
Yeah.
will. Yeah,
Well, the whole place smelled everywhere. I mean, I could smell it from
exactly.
my
So
house too.
yeah,
But
there were a lot of efforts made to try to deal with that. So again, there's not any type of business that can work necessarily in Montreal West.
Burger Deville.
Burger Deville. Burger Deville. I'm so sorry. I promise I will promote you on Facebook this week, Burger Deville. But yeah, no. I mean, listen. I'd like to see some variety because there's a bit of a lack of variety. I miss, a shout out to Josie Spano, the late Josie Spano from La
Yeah.
Frenais. I used to love going there, really because of Josie. I love seeing her. I love talking to her. I still go there. I still frequent the store, but it was a particular place that I loved, and I thought that was a great addition. Still is a great addition to the strip that we have in Montreal West.
Yeah, my daughter Julia worked there for a couple of summers.
Oh,
So
cool,
yeah,
cool.
it was very nice. Yeah.
It's like she really first of all she brought something that was fresh and new in many ways, and so but again, two of everything. We have the Pat across the street, and we have nothing there. So but yeah, no, listen, I all I really hope for in Montreal West is what I always hoped for when I first ran, and what motivated me to run every time, which is Montreal West is steeped in history, and a lot of us stay there in spite of some of the issues, right? We have high taxes. We don't have, the best of everything that the city of Montreal has to offer, if you will. But it's ours. It's quaint, and it's kind of trapped in time. and it's beautiful, and the trees, and I mean, listen, it's just a perfect place. My kids grew up there and they still are living there. Our family home, it's 20 something years. So like we just love Montreal West. But by the way, Bill, I wanted to tell you something. I remember your very first question 10 years ago when you came to town council, or whenever was your first time that you came to town council. You asked it of me, and it had to do with the sidewalks in the town.
And you guys got it done. You got it done. I loved it. It was great. I mean, Benny called me and he's like, "I got great news for you." I'm like, "Fantastic!" And I'm very happy. I mean, it's one thing that bothered me when I got here, because look, not that I came from Mile End. Mile End, the sidewalks were bad, but not like this. These were craters.
These are like craters.
You lose yourself in them, for crying out loud.
It was funny because I remember that night distinctly, and I would always take pleasure in these very well-meaning, intentioned questions and concerns, and we'd go back and we'd talk about them and what can we do and how can we fix this, and I remembered that earnest sense about you, that you were asking and you were wanting for all the right reasons to better not just your life experience, but everybody's life experience.
Everybody's, the whole neighborhood. I mean, it was, but you know what I didn't realize though? I didn't realize that, I'm thinking we collect taxes, we use them for this, but then I realized that there's not enough to collect to do this. These projects aren't cheap. And then, we got to beg all these, governments for money to do these projects. Because, I mean, I think a city block at the time was almost $1 million.
Yeah, no, listen, I could tell you.
It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah. The cost of infrastructure is huge. And I have to say that each administration, going back to the time of Campbell Stewart through Benny Masella, I mean, all those administrations, there's been a real commitment every year for infrastructure. That's one thing that has been done systematically, if you will, which is a good thing. And again, it's quite incredible considering the limited resources that are available to the town. And you're right, a stretch of like nothing street costs a fortune, and and everybody wants to get theirs done, and everybody's in the lineup, and so it's not obvious. Mowest punches above its weight, and like you said, we claw for all the money and the grants we can get. C'est pas évident, comme on dit en français. It's not obvious. So, and by the way, I have to tell you, I think what you're doing here with this podcast, this is a fantastic initiative. I think you're really one of the guys in Mowest that really gives a damn, if I could say that, like in the sense that you're a resident who put his money where his mouth is. You decided you wanted to do this. I've watched the other podcasts; they've been amazing. They've been great. I learned about these different people that I didn't necessarily. I thought I knew about them, but I learned a lot more about them.
That's the whole thing. I mean, I walk around and talk to people. How well do you know people? And some of them have really interesting stories. And we have scientists here, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have Olympians. Actually, we have a lot of people. People don't know. They just say, hello, but they don't know the background. It's cool to meet people.
I could tell you, I used to joke and say that if ever a crater from outer space smacked onto Montreal West, there would be a lot of people the next day in the paper. They'd be writing a lot of different amazing obituaries. I mean, there are a lot of incredibly amazing people in our midst, people that we don't entirely know about and who are kind of cool about it all. And you see them on the street with their dog. And now that I have a dog, I have my beautiful Romeo, I walk and I see a lot more people than I did before. I should have got the dog way before I ran as counselor, but it makes the job a lot easier.
We're the same. We got a dog during COVID and we love him to death.
What's your dog's name?
Theo,
that's so cool.
He's a little 6-pound Morkie. So, we have a blast. We really have a good time.
They're bundles of joy.
So Dino, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to do this, and we'll see each other in Mowest.
We shall. Be well, Bill, and thank you for this initiative. God bless you.
Take care, my man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.